Good evening. The following is a live broadcast for the City of Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Board meetings are regularly scheduled on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. In advance of the BMA meeting, a copy of the agenda is available for inspection at the Kingsport Public Library, City Hall, or online at kingsporttn.gov.
Good evening. Welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Alderman business meeting. This is the meeting where we vote. Today is Tuesday, August 23rd. The first order of business will be, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the New Vision Youth, and then remain standing for our invocation led by Pastor Donna Hester from Kingsley United Methodist Church. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, grant us a vision of your community as your love would have it. A community where the weak are protected, where none go hungry or poor. A community where the riches of creation are shared and everyone can enjoy them. A community where different races and cultures live in harmony and mutual respect. A community where peace is built with justice and justice is guided by love. Lord, we lift before you these elected officials. Guide them to establish a community of justice and peace. Lord, we lift before you the citizens of Kingsport. Direct them to live in harmony with one another. Lord, as you guide and direct the community of Kingsport, may we be an example of harmony, mutual respect, peace, justice, and love to the entire world. May our vision strengthen the world with your love. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor, and please be seated. And thank you, Miss Johnny Mae Swaggerty. She's the youth leader of the New Vision Youth that did the pledge, and it's a great group, and it helps young people get on a productive path towards being a good citizen. Mr. As you were, Madam Recorder, please call the roll. Here.
George. Here. Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan.
Here.
Alderman Ulterman.
Here.
Alderman Phillips.
By my reckoning, we have 6 elected members present and 1 absent. The city manager and appropriate staff is here. Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
All right, we have 3 recognitions on the agenda tonight. The first one is to recognize the 2022 Appalachian League champions, our very own Kingsport Axemen. And our Alderman Tommy Ulterman is going to make his way to the podium, and I'd ask that Logan, if you're here, if you'd come on up and bring that trophy with you.
Logan, it takes an army to get me up there, okay?
It is.
Yeah, I got everybody helping me now. Surely I'll make it. Logan, did you think I'd make it, buddy?
Never a doubt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Kingsport Axemen is one of 8 teams in the Appalachian League. A congratulate of wooden bats and league design for rising freshmen and sophomores. The Axemen led the Appy League this season in a winning percentage with a run differential, batting average, runs, hits, doubles, RBIs, and stolen base. That's a lot.
Pretty solid, yeah.
That's solid. Some of the season highlights were they finished second this season with a 37-17 record. This team has 6 league all-stars on its roster, and they won the Appy League Championship. And Logan, along with his head coach, Mike Gwynn, was named the Appy League Manager of the Year. I'll tell you what, that's a fine job. It's the first year I guess I've missed a lot of your games. But I used to go every night and watch them. And they didn't have near the record you boys had. But I tell you what, they played hard. Anyway, you've had a great year. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You got it right here, man.
Yeah, we had an awesome year, like you said, and, you know, we couldn't have done it without the whole community's support. I think the coolest thing for me is bringing this big, awesome trophy back to Kingsport. You know, it's going to be here for at least a year, so,
That's right.
like you said, our guys had a great year. It was wire to wire. We were in first place in the division the whole season, so they never really slacked off. They were a lot of fun to watch, and we had a lot of great crowds, so the fans really came out and supported us, which was awesome as well. So, like I said, just a great year. Couldn't have asked for better support from the community, and glad to bring this back with us. So,
Logan, I want to add a couple of words to Tommy's talk. By the way, Tommy was a year ahead of me in high school, and he was an outstanding athlete, both in high school and
You can
college.
tell that the way I got up here at the program.
And I was good at watching him.
yeah, there you go.
So, Logan, I don't know if everybody knows, but this is your second year with the team. Last year, you were assistant general manager.
Yeah.
And we don't want to say too much about last year. It was kind of a turbulent season. But I think the folks who run the Appalachian League and the team, the big bosses, knew what they were doing by promoting you to the general manager, because you did an outstanding, fantastic job.
Appreciate it.
Especially considering what happened last year and then becoming the champion this year. And even though you don't take a turn at bat, you don't run the bases, you don't catch any fly balls, you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and we recognize it. And since you and your team and all the staff has made such a great contribution to Kingsport, you know, made us the champions, I'd like to give you a mayor's coin to show that you made a great contribution to our
Thank
city,
you.
our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're lucky, you're fortunate. I got one of those. You know, it was years ago, though.
Thank you. You're going to leave the trophy? No, you
Yeah,
can
it's
take
all
the
yours.
trophy. Thank you.
This time I'd like to ask Neil Brown if he would come up for this month's Keep Kingsport Beautiful Beautification Awards.
Good evening. Before I get started, I would like to once again thank our sponsor of these awards, Bowen Landscape. So for August, we've got one more month of doing this before the summer kind of closes out. So one more chance for people this season. If you're thinking of a reason to get out there and spruce up your yard, this could be a little bit of a carrot dangling out there. So first off, we have the home of Tony and Lori Dawson on Orbank Road. This home has a well-manicured lawn with a variety of shrubs and crepe myrtles in the front yard. On the next two slides, we have the home of Ryan and Molly Gilbert on Calton Hill. This home features several landscaped areas all around the property. Plantings include native perennials, evergreens, and beautiful crepe myrtle trees. For additional interest and texture, the yard features large rocks, driftwood, and yard art. A rocking chair and a lovely swing invite visitors to the front porch. On these next two slides, we have the home of Justice Fry on Winola Avenue. This historic Park Hill home was built in 1920 and was recently purchased and renovated. The yard has been left untouched and overgrown. After several years of hard work and dedication, the yard has been completely transformed. The front yard features an original rhododendron and azalea bush, a variety of annuals, and more than 40 ornamental trees surrounded by a custom wrought iron fence. The yard has various aesthetic aspects ranging from Oriental to Roman style. The backyard is Roman style with specially made columns and statues that line the pool, surrounded by tropical plants. Trees include pygmy date palms, ornamental orange, lemon, lime, mango, avocado, royal panacea, majesty, and windmill palms. Bird of paradise, taro, Mediterranean olive, and a variety of banana trees fill the open spaces. Quite the plant palette. Enough to make a fruit salad as well. Next, we have the home of Jimmy and Susan Russo on West Wind Drive. This home features a manicured lawn, well-defined flower beds, and stone edging. 3 large crepe myrtle trees stand in front of the house. Variegated grasses lighten up the mostly all-green landscape. Large clay flower pots frame the welcoming porch. This home is a lesson on how to landscape with texture and varying shades of greens with accents of color. The wooden flag made of pallets pays homage to the owner's continuing military service to our country. Let's see here. The last home for this month is the home of Judy Irvin on Bellingham Drive. Beautiful annual flowers are mixed with lovely perennials all around the home. Flowers include purple asters, red begonias, and yellow marigolds. The home also features playful yard art. Next, we have the business winner for this month, which is Town and Country Realty on Center Street. That looks like the same house.
That's one Darrell done.
There we go. This is Town and Country Realty.
That's one Darrell Duncan.
There you go. The company's sign is surrounded by a variety of colorful flowers lined with smooth white rocks. Last but not least, we have the church winner for this month, which is Holy Trinity Lutheran Church on Broad Street. The lawn is well manicured and colorful flowers surround the church sign. And that concludes the August awards. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you are here tonight and you're a recipient of the award, would you care to stand, please, so we could recognize you all?
Okay.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate what y'all do to help keep our city beautiful. Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
At this time, I'd like to recognize Chief Phillips, who will, if he will, come to the podium and recognize our guests for their commendation.
Thank you, Chris, Mayor, Board. Thank you for this opportunity to rightfully recognize these gentlemen. As you know, the police business is very busy, and unfortunately, we can't be everywhere at all the time. But it is certainly a privilege for us to be able to work with citizens who happen to be at the right place at the right time. And these 3 gentlemen on this particular day were. On June the 29th of this year, these 3 gentlemen ran across an individual who was straddling the bridge of Airport Parkway over 81. Obviously, the individual was contemplating doing harm to himself. These young gentlemen stepped in and did the right thing, the human thing, and pulled this gentleman to safety. And before Officer Hutton could get there, and obviously without their help, we would be telling a different story. And certainly we wanted to pause it in a moment of time to recognize their heroic efforts and award them the Citizens Commendation Award from the Police Department. Robert Medley. Paul Fine. And Wyatt Richard. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Speaking of Officer Hutton, he obviously narrated a report, but he also saw fit that these gentlemen needed to be recognized, and I completely agree, and I appreciate his willingness to bring this to our attention. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chief, stand by, would you? Thank you very much, folks. That I guess there's a Bible phrase that talks about no greater love than what you do to your fellow human, and that was a wonderful thing you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Mr. City Manager, you might want to, Chief, stand by. Go on back. There was a great article in the paper about our police force. Would you like to?
Hey, go ahead and brag. It was very good. I'm proud of y'all.
We were, in the past several years, we have always participated in the Tennessee Highway Safety Officers Challenge regarding traffic safety. And this past year, we really cleaned the table, if you will. We placed first in our own bracket, 101 officers to 200. And there was another category I can't recall right now, but the big one was the overall winner, where our package was presented among other states, and we came out to be number one. So it was a very humbling for these gentlemen that had put this package together, and it was a great success for our department. Really proud of that moment.
Thank you. It's a great credit upon your department, and it makes the whole town look good, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
All right, we have an appointment to the Bays Mountain Park Commission. It's recommended to appoint Vice Mayor Colette George to the Bays Mountain Park Commission for 2 years. We ask that you approve this appointment, please.
And Ms. George is,
And I will abstain, but I really want to be on this board. I've been on this commission, I've totally enjoyed it. Y'all know how much I like Bays Mountain, but I have to abstain from this vote, but hopefully y'all will still take me.
Bays Mountain is truly a jewel. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Is there any discussion? Other than she really wants to be on this.
She said that yours.
She's done a good job, so I don't know.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 5-0. Well, 5, 1 abstention, 1 absent. Okay, next item.
Next item is appointments to the Senior Center Advisory Council. I'm not going to read those off, all those names, but you see those listed here. Those we're reappointing, and those are appointing. We have term limits for this, and so it's not uncommon to see somewhat of a wholesale turnover. This is a very active board. We appreciate this group of individuals volunteering that are coming on, and those that are also wishing to stay on for the remainder of their term. So we'd ask that you approve these appointments, please.
And I concur. We really do appreciate citizens that volunteer for this panel as well as several others with no pay, just out of love for their city. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Third by Alderman Duncan. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 and 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is approval of minutes from the work session on August 1st, 2022, the business meeting on August 2nd, 2022. Ask that you approve these minutes as submitted.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve both sets of minutes? So moved. Moved by Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving both sets of minutes, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Next item.
We have a public hearing. This is a public hearing in consideration of a resolution to annex and adopt a plan of services for the Browder Road annexation and consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning. Ken Weems is our planning manager, and he will conduct the public hearing.
Thank you. So this is the Browder Road annexation. You can see where our site is right here, right off of Browder Road. It's just south of our large water tank that's painted up like a hot air balloon. That's probably the best landmark to kind of give you the vicinity of where this is. It's a total of 1.15 acres. You can see the site right here. It's actually located at 206 Browder Road. And the applicant does plan to build several apartment buildings on the property. The proposed zone is R3, which is our low-density apartment district. Take a look at the aerial here, you can see where it is. You can see a couple of structures on it, older structures on it currently. As far as costs, there are no significant costs. We already have the road that serves the property inside the city. And during their July meeting, the Planning Commission voted to send a positive recommendation to the board for the annexation, zoning, and plan of services for the Browder Road annexation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions or comments by the board? And as you indicated last night, it conforms to all existing state law and city ordinances and so forth.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. Just like any other annexation we
Okay.
process. Yes, sir.
At this point in the proceedings, I declare that there's a public hearing open. What that means is that citizens can come forward to speak to this item at this time, this item only. Are there any citizens wish to come forward? Yes, ma'am, please do. Please state your name for the record,
My name's Terry Edwards.
okay?
My main question is, what is it zoned now and what is it being zoned to?
Okay, well, the current zone is County B3, their general commercial district. And the proposal is an R3 zone, a low-density apartment district.
Okay, so that's what I make it. That was my question.
That it? Okay, please, can you sign in so we'll have record?
I sure can.
Are there any other citizens that wish to come forward to speak to this specific item? If not, I declare the public hearing to be over. Mr. Attorney, we're going to have to take a vote on 3 different items in regards to this action. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Okay, please publish.
A resolution to annex that certain territory adjoining the present corporate boundaries of the city of Kingsport, embracing that certain part of the 7th Civil District of Sullivan County, Tennessee, and known as the Browder Road annexation, as hereinafter described, to incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the city of Kingsport, Tennessee, and to fix the effective date of this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the resolution, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Please publish the ordinance.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code text and map to rezone property located along Browder Road from County B3 General Commercial District to R3 Low Density Apartment District in the 7th Civil District of Sullivan County, to fix penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance on first reading? Okay, thank you. Alderman moved the item. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion of the ordinance on first reading? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes with 6 present, 1 absent. And finally, publish the resolution for plan of services.
A resolution adopting a plan of services for the Browder Road annexation of the city of Kingsport, Tennessee.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution pertaining to plan of services? Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Thank you, Mr. Weems. At this time, citizens may come forward and speak to the board on items on our agenda, just the items that we're voting on tonight. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment during this part of the agenda. And let me add that if you wish to speak about an item of general civic interest that's not on the agenda, there's a portion later on in our proceedings where you can do that. So is there anyone that would like to come forward to talk about an item on the agenda? If not, I declare that part of the proceedings to be over. Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
First item is consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal '23. This is doing 2 things. One, it's closing out a project near Brickyard Park and transferring those dollars to the Greenbelt for just general landscaping improvements. And then also with a sewer project that the city of Kingsport has been working on along with Washington County to provide sewer to Valley Brook. This is also being funded through a grant through ARC, and it's appropriated the necessary dollars so that we can begin construction on that.
Thank you. A couple of reminders to our audience. We have ordinances to vote on at a first reading. That's a voice vote. We have a few ordinances to vote on for a second reading. We're have to take a roll call for those votes. And if it looks like we're going through some of the items fairly quickly, be aware that every member of the board has met one-on-one with the city manager and gone over these items in detail. Then we meet together in a work session as a group and discuss the items. Not allowed to vote during a work session. And so by the time it rolls around to the business meeting, we're pretty familiar with this. So, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is an ordinance to amend the fiscal 23 general purpose school fund budget. This is a result of an increase in the BEP funds, or the Basic Education Program fundings, of $266,000, and then the appropriation of those funds throughout the school operations. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance, please.
Yeah, as you explained this yesterday to us, that we had already prepared our budget, or the school board had already prepared their budget, which is incorporated into the city budget, before they knew that these funds were forthcoming from the state.
That's correct, and it's not uncommon throughout the course of the year for the school system to adjust revenues as a result of grants, as a result of increased revenue based upon what was budgeted. And so this is very common, but this one is a little different because it is BEP funding that is out there.
As an aside, the state is looking at changing the whole BEP formula, right?
That's right. Beginning next fiscal year, we'll be operating under TISA, which is a new program they've put in place. We'll provide increased funding for not only our city school, but also for county school as well in Sullivan County.
Yeah, again, some of our newer citizens may not be aware that Tennessee is one of 14 states where one body, in this case, the school board, prepares its budget, but it has to be approved by the other body, in this case, the Board of Mayor and Alderman. Okay, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next is an ordinance to amend the fiscal 23 school special projects fund budget. This is a result of an increase in other state education funds revenue in the amount of $86,900, and then the allocation of those dollars within their operations. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023 school special projects fund budget and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is an ordinance to amending sections 155 and 157 of Article 4, Chapter 66 of the Kingsport Code of Ordinances regarding the composition of the Bays Mountain Park Commission. Historically, we have seen an appointment come from the Sullivan County Mayor, and Sullivan County has been a financial contributor to Bays Mountain Park for many years. So we need to make an adjustment to our Code of Ordinances that pertains to Bays Mountain Park, as well as making some other adjustments that recognizes the role of the park director from an ex officio role. Those put 10 members on the committee, but they'll have 9 total voting members. And so appreciate the work that staff has done on this to get this adjusted, and we'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
And this is what our Vice Mayor belongs to now?
She's on there.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend sections 155 and 157 of Article 4, Chapter 66 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, relating to the Bays Mountain Park Commission and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, is there any discussion? First, is there a motion to approve? Got ahead of myself.
So moved.
Move Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
second by Alderman. Now, is there any discussion?
So we still have one member that's appointed by Sullivan County, right?
Correct.
That didn't change, it's just.
Now that I've been voted to be on this commission, do I have a conflict voting for this ordinance? I think that's for you, Bart. Probably best-
Recusal might be advised, yes.
Okay. Since I'm now on this commission, I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm really excited to be there.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? I put it on the floor, it's up for vote. Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So it passes 5-1-1. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is on second reading. This is a consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal '22. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2022, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Ulterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes unanimously, but with one person absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is on second and final reading. This is a consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal year '23. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Is there any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Ulterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 6 with one absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one T-870 Bobcat track loader utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. This will go to our Streets Maintenance Department. It is a fleet replacement. I know you guys always want to look and see what it is.
Yeah, we like the pictures.
That's right.
Won't let me drive a forklift.
Yeah, well, we try to
That line
limit that.
But
Well,
I do get
I don't see a picture in our
work
packet.
day and I get to ride in them.
yeah, it's usually at the end. I just went a different route to get there. There it is.
Oh, okay. Pretty cool.
We'll feature it in upcoming parades, I'm sure.
I don't know, those tracks are hard on the pavement.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, now I've lost track of where I am. Mr. Attorney, did I ask you to publish?
No.
Not yet, sir.
Well, please do.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to Bobcat of the Mountain Empire utilizing Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement number 040319-CEC for a Bobcat track loader for use by the Streets Maintenance Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Is there any discussion about the Bobcat? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6 with one absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to purchase ammunition for the Kingsport Police Department from the Tennessee State contract. You see there the amount. This is a little bit change of pace from what we typically do, but we are pleased with this, and we'd ask that you approve this. Funding for this was identified in the fiscal '23 budget, so this will allow us to begin purchasing from the state contract with your approval of this resolution.
Had we used this contract before, this specific contract?
I don't believe we have. No, this is a first for us.
Okay. Well, keep us posted on how it works out. All right, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order for ammunition from Gulf States distributors utilizing Tennessee State Contract SWC 331/55311 for the Kingsport Police Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion?
Is this all purchased at once and delivered, or is it purchased throughout the year? Okay,
Part of the reason why we've gone to the state contract was the supply chain issues.
okay. But you're anticipating getting all this at this time at once? Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully this is a reliable source. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution awarding the bid for the Jefferson Elementary School HVAC project to SB White Company Incorporated. This is being funded through the use of ESSER dollars. Total cost of a little over $2.5 million, and we'd ask that you approve the resolution.
And just for our public, ESSER dollars were the form of federal COVID relief money that came specifically targeted to school systems.
Correct, over 3 different phases. And a lot of what you're seeing these dollars go towards is replacing items that we replaced 30 years ago and back in the 90s, and we're now at a point where we're needing to replace these, and pretty significant cost.
Okay, thank
Bet
you.
in the 90s it didn't cost.
I bet it didn't.
I got that right. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution awarding the bid for the Jefferson Elementary School HVAC replacement project to SB White Company Incorporated and authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement for the same and all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to approve a facilities use agreement with TNT Sportsplex for Kingsport City Schools and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement. You see the terms there, $15 per hour per court used. This is necessary as a result of the temporary closure of the Buck Van Hus Dome and spreading out throughout the city. We're fortunate to have a facility like this. Of course, it's located here on Main Street that we can conduct practice in. So we'd ask that you approve this resolution to authorize this agreement.
Okay, and the newspaper's done a good job of covering the other accommodations we made, like using the civic auditorium and so forth.
Absolutely.
School. So they've expressed their gratitude for that, and we're happy to do it. It's all one team. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution to approve a facility use agreement with TNT Properties LLC, doing business as TNT Sportsplex for Kingsport City Schools, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and any other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes with all present voting for it.
Next item is a resolution of an amendment to the Central Technologies Agreement for the Kingsport City Schools Surveillance Camera Project. This came to you all at a previous meeting. We've asked that this project be bonded in the event that they are unable to perform. It's very common with our capital projects, especially ones of this magnitude. So we'd ask that you approve the resolution, which would authorize the changes that have been made as a result of this bond.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution to amend the agreement with Central Technologies Incorporated for the Kingsport City Schools Surveillance Camera System Update Project and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Next item.
Next item is a resolution approving an agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute, or ESRI, for GIS mapping software. This is coming to you all as a request for a sole source purchase. This license agreement will carry us into the next 3 years. Historically, and really for as long as I can remember, we have been, as we call it, an Esri house. We've used them basically as the backbone for the GIS system that we have here that then provides necessary mapping for much of the other software that we use that they build off of that. So that's why we want to stay with this. So we'd ask that you approve this resolution allowing us to secure this software.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute for GIS mapping software and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously with all present. Next item.
Next item is a resolution awarding the bid for the purchase of road salt for fiscal '23. Historically, and as the case here, we buy this through a cooperative program administered by the city of Knoxville. This will be purchased on an as-needed basis for the upcoming fiscal year. Your approval will guarantee a very hard winter with a lot of kids missing school, and so I've been asked to encourage you all to approve this.
If we have a mild winter, the money that we set aside for this can go to another purpose legally.
Correct. Through state street aid funding, the money that we get reimbursed from the state for work that we do on state routes, we're then able to utilize that. Last 2 years, we've been able to do some paving in front of Dobbins Bennett, which is State Route 36, and we've also done some paving on Memorial Boulevard, State Route 126.
Thank you. That's good information. Please publish, Mr. Attorney.
A resolution awarding the bid for the purchase of road salt to Compass Minerals America Incorporated as a primary source and from the state contract vendor as a secondary source, and authorizing the city manager to execute purchase orders for the same.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution approving a tax increment financing amendment for the downtown Kingsport redevelopment district for Brickyard Village. John Rose went into detail on this last night. I'm going to kind of walk you all through his presentation. And as it pertains to this particular item, of course, you see the redevelopment district here in red. That also includes the part in yellow. This is part in yellow is identifying the Brickyard site. Pretty much, probably a little more than a third of that is what has been allocated for the Brickyard Village development. We'll talk here a little bit later about Centennial Row, also another project that is coming to our downtown. So kind of our timeline thus far, the Housing Authority, Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority that administers all the redevelopment activity within our redevelopment districts, approved this on the 17th of this month, the County Commission on the 18th, and of course it comes to you all tonight. You see the definition here for what we look at when we are looking to administer tax increment financing. Does the project that has been put for us meet this criteria? And definitely within this project it does. One of the things that we're looking for in any project is how can we reduce blight, but also will this encourage additional development, and will this aid in potential challenges that a site has? And when you look historically at the redevelopment districts that we have provided funding for, this third bullet has really been the one that has been the primary thing for us moving forward. We definitely see this with Brickyard Village, the former General Shale site. It's been an industrial site in the city of Kingsport for almost 95 years. And so we recognize that. We recognize the challenges that come with that. Specifically, as it pertains to this, tremendous amount of concrete demolition. Many of you all will remember the buildings that were out there. Those buildings have been taken down, but we still have the concrete structures, the surface structures, the footers and the foundation of those that they'll have to work with. So that is, we recognize that. There's existing private utilities that are on the site that will need to be demolished. And then as well as a lot of fill brought in to bring the site up to make it, to really get the site prepped for development. And then really that last one, as we talk a lot about what is the highest and best use for the property presently right now with it owned by the Economic Development Board, not generating any taxes, bush hogging it on a regular basis, it's not at its highest and best use. So in addition to that, we're asking them, and they will move forward with working with TDEC on the voluntary brownfield agreement. Again, this is a former industrial site. It helps us with our housing demand that we have in the city of Kingsport. We heard a presentation from Jeff Fleming yesterday. It's been a constant topic for us for really the last 3 years is how do we grow ourselves from a residential standpoint to meet the demand that is out there? And then more importantly, how do we get this project moving forward so that it is beginning to generate tax revenue? We do not want to be sitting on property when there is an obvious use for it out there. So when we look at the overall project, there's 204 multifamilies, 52 duplexes, 70 townhomes, 51 single family. Obviously, it's not generating taxes now. They're looking at a 25-year TIF, and yes, this is, when we look at years of TIFs and we look at what we've done, this one is one of the larger ones we've done. Same is true with Centennial Road, but both of these present challenges really unlike projects that we have brought to you all in the past, and thus that time frame. But at the end of the day, we're looking at, once all phases are built out, a project that will be over $100 million investment into our city and really into our downtown. The TIF amount requested for this is $9.5 million. This goes towards funding issues with the site to make it buildable, but also a multitude of public amenities. Most noticeably is the large outdoor space that has been a topic of conversation for this development for some time. And so we're excited that this is part of that project as well as parking to support that. We look at the taxes and kind of where we are here in terms of where we would be at build out, city and county, at 115 for the city, 126,000 for the county. Had we not done this TIF, you see what those taxes would be for both city and county. I'll point you though towards the bottom of this. One of the primary drivers behind this project, as well as the Centennial Road project that we'll talk about next, has been the economic impact. We have a desire to see feet on the street in our downtown. We have a desire to continue to see people move into our downtown. That supports the existing businesses. It also attracts new businesses, and it attracts additional redevelopment within our downtown. And so when you look at the total number of units, you look at the population that could move into that, it's very exciting and really provides a tremendous shot in the arm for our downtown. This is going to be done in phases, with the first phase beginning in the fourth quarter of this year, and then each phase following that. You see there what the city and county holdback would be and the estimated taxes that we would see. Again, this is a conceptual layout for the development. You see the public amenities here with the skate park. We'll soon be bidding out the bicycle pump track, which will be a neighbor to the skate park. In addition to that, we have our Brickyard Park baseball, softball fields here, and then the Miracle Field is also located here. This is all also adjacent to Cement Hill, which is another project that we've talked a tremendous amount about over the last couple of years. We're beginning to see some movement on that. This also illustrates the 5 acres that will be set aside for kind of a green space, so concerts, festivals, various other things that we're limited on where we can have that downtown. We're trying to avoid shutting down streets. We recognize the impact that has on businesses. The farmers market is used a lot, but this really opens us up for a lot of unique things. So a very unique development. Troy is here representing the developers. We appreciate him coming in. We appreciate the work that has been done on this. As I had said to you all last night, and I've said going through this project, really, when you look at both of these, they meet the definition of a redevelopment district. They meet the definition of why we provide tax increment financing. We have had a lot of success utilizing this tool in our toolbox when it comes to economic development throughout the city for the last 20 years. It has paid off tremendously. We take a conservative slant to it, much like we do a lot of our budgeting, to make sure that we're protected, make sure that the developer is protected. At the end of the day, the burden is on them to make sure this is a success in order to pay back the debt that will be provided. So happy to answer any questions. I know we went through this, probably spent 30, 45 minutes on both of these last night, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. City Manager, do you remember about when General Shale ceased operations there?
I'm wanting to say it's probably around 2012, 2013, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay, in several years. And
It could have been.
Yeah.
We purchased property there at two separate times. I know that was done. John Campbell, city manager, Dennis Phillips was mayor, so probably between the 08 into 2012 timeframe. And then we came back under Mayor John Clark and purchased the property where the skate park sits.
so we became owners of part of what we see on the map as long as 15 years ago, and then acquired more.
Correct.
Okay, and as you explained, the TIF can only be done in a redevelopment zone. And you also pointed out that General Shale had been in operation for like 90 years before they finally stopped. So folks, age of Tommy and I remember when the whole country started getting a lot more stringent, and appropriately so, with environmental concerns. And so this is a brownfield, and it is harder for any developer to make usable, and therefore, I believe TIF's appropriate in this case. The other thing is, first, I want to thank Sullivan County Commission for approving this TIF ahead of us, and the next item we're going to talk about, they approved also, so I appreciate what they did. Secondly, this board, in fact, all 6 people that are here present tonight, reached a decision along about, what was it, February 2020? We'd been together about a little over 7 months or so in a strategic planning session as what would be the highest and best purpose of this area. We considered setting it aside for some kind of commercial activity because there's a railhead and other things, but as we put our heads together and worked with the staff on this, we thought the best use would be additional housing. And I believe, and I think my colleagues share the opinion, that this could be a very real catalyst for growth of the downtown area, better utilization, I guess, of the downtown area than where we are now. So I hope I live long enough to see the next 10, 20 years as this develops, because this could really set off a very positive chain reaction. Let me put it on the up for more discussion by the city attorney here first. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving a tax increment financing amendment for the downtown Kingsport redevelopment district Brickyard Village project.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Now, is there any other discussion?
I would just point out, you touched on the brownfield. I don't think the general public really understands. I mean, the big thing with the brownfield is that you can't take one piece of dirt off of that property, and that makes it so difficult on a developer and cost-wise, because you can move it over here, you can move it over there, but it can't leave that area. And so you have to figure out what to do with it, and that's a big cost occurrence that would not occur if it wasn't a brownfield. And so I think that's one of the biggest reasons TIF makes sense here on so many levels, but that's a big reason.
And I'm not trying to fault General Shale. When they established over 90 years ago, I mean, the environmental rules were a lot different than they are now.
Right.
So good comment. Anything else, board? Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution approving a tax increment financing agreement amendment for the downtown Kingsport redevelopment district. This is for the Centennial Road project. I will walk through that one as well. Again, John did a great job of going through this the other night. You see the district here, the same one, downtown Kingsport. This one is located on Main Street. It's the former Citizen Supply or former Moose Lodge, depending on what generation you are. In the city of Kingsport, it's been owned by the Economic Development Board for many years. You see the approval process. This has followed the Brickyard Village and its approval with the bodies there. Again, same logic that we have used on every TIF project that we've brought to this board over the last 20-some years. Does it meet these requirements? And it most definitely does. You see the things there, much like I talked about with Brickyard Village, as to what we're looking for here, why we would provide a TIF. Again, a TIF is provided when a property presents challenges and we need to move in to provide assistance. This is a tool that's not only used here throughout Northeast Tennessee, but really all across the country, and it's proven to be successful in changing properties out. Again, a lot of things here associated with Brickyard, but also applies to Centennial Road, concrete, utility, asphalt, a lot of historical things there that will present challenges for the developer moving forward. You see what is proposed in terms of number of townhomes. It's requested, again, at 25 years, $500,000, and an investment by the developer of over $5.1 million. You see the holdback, again, the same for Brickyard at 10%. You got the city and county taxes right on this one. So $7,500 to the city, $8,200 to the county. Upon maturity, you'll see that number grow. Again, this is estimated as we anticipate that will continue to grow and tax rates could change. A very conservative economic estimate in terms of economic impact at $480,000. Again, the same thing I've said before. We see that already with people living in lofts downtown. Generating foot traffic in our downtown has been a goal for some time to move this forward. You see the site layout here, just to orient you. This is Main Street here. Brickyard Village would sit behind this. Right up here is Centennial Park, and thus the name. You see the redevelopment that's taken place here by Marvin Egan of the old Citizen Supply office building. And then you see an elevation drawing there of the townhomes. They will be all brick, which adheres to our zoning.
Two-story and a little over 1,200 square feet, right?
Correct. Correct. We've got Reed Burton here tonight, and appreciate Reed's dedication to this project and sticking with this. So be happy to answer any questions, but our recommendation would be to approve the resolution, please.
Okay, let me get the attorney to publish. Mr. Attorney?
A resolution approving a tax increment financing agreement amendment for the downtown Kingsport redevelopment district Centennial Row project.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Alderman Duncan, seconded by, moved by Alderman, seconded by Alderman Duncan. Now, any discussion? It is a good project, and you know, old timers, they know the story of how Kingsport became a planned city, and we're very fortunate. When you look at our downtown area, we have fairly wide streets. We have no one-way streets. Adding housing actually is a good thing, you know, this mix of housing versus commercial activity. I mean, it just makes it a very livable area, a very walkable area. It's a great addition. Chris, what did we say, 1,500 people or so live downtown now?
Yeah, that's our estimate within the that Fire District 1, which has historically been the central business district.
And of course, they're not all in the town loft apartments. They're scattered around downtown, like places like the old phone building and so forth. So I see it's a great addition. Any other discussion? Yeah.
It's great for business.
Yeah. it'll promote more business, in my opinion, you know?
About last night that, both of these are about 400 new residents or new doors downtown, along with what we're doing on Main Street yeah, it's an exciting time for that end of downtown.
Yeah, repairing
Skate
Main
park.
Street.
The skate park and then the Cement Hill eventually,
Yeah.
and the goats. We gotta have the goats.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes with all 6 voting in affirmative. Next item.
Just want to take a second. I appreciate Troy and Reed being here. You guys have been and sat through a lot of meetings on both of these projects over the last month. Appreciate your commitment to Kingsport and appreciate your time spent with us here tonight. So thank you both. Next item is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 6 train HVAC units utilizing the Omnia Partners train contract. This is going to be used in order to provide new HVAC units for the gym at the former Sullivan North High School. As you know, and as we discussed earlier in the agenda, with temporary closure of the dome, we are in need of space for Dobbins Bennett athletics as it pertains to volleyball, basketball, wrestling, to be able to utilize the facility. North, based upon the seating capacity, became really quickly the obvious choice. A lot of work that needs to be done to stand that gym up to get it ready for play on December 20th, which is 129 days now away, as Betsy has the countdown going there. But this process using the Omnia source or the Omnia Partners was the quickest way for us to get the equipment in here. The school board and Kingsport City Schools will be moving forward with a bid for some additional work that will be coming out here very soon for the gym, and then that will be followed by a need for more than likely a called meeting by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen as we work through to make sure that we are meeting the timeline to get this done. A lot of work has gone into making this happen. I greatly appreciate the work by our staff. Michael Borders has been outstanding working with the schools on various facilities that we have within the leisure services portfolio that we could provide. In addition to that, Ryan McReynolds has been working very closely with the schools, not only on the dome, but also looking at this at their facility study and various things they're going to need to do to make the gym operational. We do view this not only as a temporary solution, but also long-term. This will definitely provide much-needed space, potentially for middle school at Sevier and Robinson, for them to play, for our rec leagues to play, and for our travel teams, for the tournaments we have to be able to stand this up. So happy to answer any questions on this. The schools would have had someone here tonight, but they are also having a Board of Education meeting.
Okay.
Let me say just a couple of words about this. First of all, I was totally against us putting any more money out there at North, but based on the conversation I've had with some of our senior staff members, I'm in line now. They've proven that this is the best alternative for us. And believe me, I had some second thought on it. But they've done a good job of explaining it, and I feel good about my support for it.
Tommy was the first class that started at DB as a 10th grader and went 10th, 11th, and 12th. So his class was the very first class, because he was my brother's class.
That's right.
And they were the first class that went through DB for all 3 years.
Tell you what his role was on the basketball team.
I watched Tommy in the
He was
basketball.
kind of the enforcer. Okay, so city manager, we authorized you to purchase. You probably need some help to install it though, wouldn't
Yeah, Michael and Ryan, I got that.
you? Okay. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Train for 6 HVAC units.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? Other than this gym, I've seen games there. This is a good facility. We're fortunate we have it in lieu of what's going on with the dome. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously with the group present. Mr. City Manager.
And just earlier tonight, for the record, the Board of Education approved this item 5-0 ahead of us, so.
Okay.
We'll now move into the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the agenda. I will read through each of those. If you'd like one pulled for additional discussion, please let me know. First is a resolution to approve the Kingsport Regional Planning Commission's delegation of authority to city planning staff for certain final subdivision plat approval. The second is approved submittal of a Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Place grant application. The third is a resolution to enter into a lease with the Kingsport Theater Guild. The fourth is a resolution to rescind the award of mowing and trimming of various locations to Phillips Landscaping. Would you like any of those pulled for additional discussion?
Phillips Landscaping is not related to anybody that happens to be
Correct.
sitting on this board.
I'd like to pull item number 1 to have Mr. Phillips comment on that.
Okay, we will discuss item number 1 separately from the other 2. First, is there a motion to approve item number 1?
Items 2, 3, and 4.
Excuse me, items 2, 3, and 4.
I'll make the motion that we approve items 2, 3, and 4 as presented on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second to the Vice Mayor's motion?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion regarding items 2, 3, and 4? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote on items 2, 3, and 4.
Alderman Cooper,
Or I guess I'm,
Alderman Duncan,
Aye to items 2, 3, and 4.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye to items 2, 3, and 4.
Alderman Ulterman,
Aye to 2, 3, and 4.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye to 2, 3, and 4.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, all 3 items, numbers 2, 3, and 4, pass unanimously by all present. We now need to consider item number 1.
Correct. Item number 1 is a resolution to approve the Kingsport Regional Planning Commission's delegation of authority to city planning staff for certain final subdivision plat approval. This is a result of the 112th General Assembly making a change to state law, which requires this to now occur. And be happy to answer any questions on that. Ken Weems is here. We made some comments on it last night. Well, but let's put it on the floor.
First, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Duncan. Let me say as an explanatory remark, we're talking about state law here. We don't really have a lot of choice, but there is some discussion, and I will defer to my colleague, Mr. Phillips,
So, thank you.
who, by the way, is on the Planning Commission.
Yes, so thank you. I will keep it brief this evening. But this is a disappointing, in my opinion, this is a disappointing item that we have to pass. Our Planning Commission spent almost a year going over our planning rules and everything, and we had what I believe had streamlined the building process and the development process for builders and developers in the city of Kingsport. And part of that was delegating things that didn't need variances to our head planner, Ken Weems. And we feel very good about that because we have a lot of confidence in Ken Weems. And we have a lot of confidence in his staff and our planning department. But apparently, in other cities, they probably don't have as good a planning department as we do. And so once that was delegated, somebody in Nashville at the state level got a hold of it and decided that now we need to, everything has to run through the planning department. And so even if it doesn't need a variance. So what this essentially has done, it has slowed down development and building in a time that we really don't need that to happen. And so it's disappointing. I don't know if state reps knew what they were passing when they passed this. I think this was pushed by cities not in this region. And so, I think one thing that was said last night that's been resonating with me since it was said was local control. And I think that's what we ask out of our state reps, is that they leave certain things in the hand of local control, because we felt really good about what we had done, and there was no negatives coming out of this, but yet this decision was taken out of our hands. So as the mayor said, we have to vote for this and pass this tonight, because even if we turn it down, I don't even know what would happen. The state says we can't. So we're going to pass it, but I think I'm personally voting for it with, I don't want to, but I'm voting for it because we have to. And I just want to reiterate that we have a lot of trust in our planning department, and, this is something that's being forced down on us by people who maybe don't have as much trust in theirs.
Two comments, first, or three, I guess. First, well said. Secondly, I think the streamlining process that you described did have a demonstrable beneficial effect on the fact that we've got 2,500 homes in the pipeline being constructed somewhere within the construction phase right now. So I agree with that. And then finally, I'd say that, and maybe the city manager could expound on this, but like other issues that come before the city that are influenced by the state, we have the opportunity to take this to our state legislators as an area that we think needs a review.
Yeah, that's correct, and we'll have our legislative packet presentation later this fall to our reps, and this is an opportunity then for us to explain to them. Maybe an adjustment could be made if they so choose.
And by the way, Mr. Williams and the planners do a great job. Thank you, Ken. Any further discussion?
What kind of time frame will this add? I know just worst case scenario on if it has to go, if it comes in the day of the meeting or right before and you can't get on the agenda, what kind of time frame are we adding?
The preliminary approval, and if it came in on the day after the submittal deadline, it could add up to 5 weeks.
Wow.
Essentially, yeah. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we've always been, or the commission's always been real good with working with developers. If some, unusual circumstances going on, we could always, do a call meeting or something like that. Of course, that's up to the chairman and the rest of the commission, but there are other ways to shorten that in, emergency cases, so.
On the things that are already in the pipeline, does anything have to get set back that has already been through kind of the plan, or if it's been pushed forward at this point, are we okay with the way we did it?
I think so. I have heard about other ones that are coming, but we have not seen plans yet, and they could come a year from now. But probably really the most recent big one we already took care of. So, as long as they choose to go final with 25 lots or fewer, when the final, subdivision approval time comes, they wouldn't be impacted at all, of course, unless they chose to do more than 25. So I think we're pretty good with all current projects. But down the road, it'll be something that developers that have gone through in the last, year or so would have to get used to. Yeah.
Does it go into effect immediately, or is it?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It's already in effect.
It is immediately, but of course, we also had to take this in front of the Hawkins County Commission, also Sullivan County Commission, which we anticipate doing in September.
Right.
Yeah, but the state law has been in effect, I think, I don't remember the exact date, but yeah, a little
And
bit
state law
earlier this
trumps
year.
us, so even if we didn't pass it.
Right. Yeah.
Does this affect either of the two projects that we voted on tonight with regard to the TIF?
No, Centennial, I don't think is even going to be subdivided, and Brickyard, we don't actually have the, submittal yet. So I guess it would impact them when they eventually get to us.
They'll have to go through this new process.
Right, which is just preliminary, approval. It's, the Brickyard itself is actually the PD zone, which would have to go to the planning commission for preliminary anyways. So it really wouldn't impact them because they, would have to do it already as a zoning requirement, so. Sure.
Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Williams? Well, let's see, we got, Mr. Turning, do we have it on the floor for a vote?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you have a motion and a second.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, whether reluctantly or not.
Is it a roll call on this, or is
It is a roll call. Madam Recorder, will you please take the vote?
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes semi-reluctantly at 6 with 1 absent. Mr. City Manager.
Just a couple things, some of which we kind of talked a little bit about, and I'm sure I'm stealing this from somebody else as we move forward, but that's the benefit of going first. But great event Saturday at Netherland Inn. I'll let some others expand upon that. Appreciate the work that our staff did in conjunction with the volunteers at Netherland Inn for the bicentennial celebration. Before that, at the farmers market, we had the Atlanta Braves World Series trophy. Tremendous turnout for that. The line was wrapped all the way through the building and out into the parking lot to get your picture made with that trophy. I'm sure the same will be for the Axman Trophy when we bring that out here in a few weeks. But again, glad we got selected for that. Appreciate the staff work that went behind that to make that happen. Last thing, and we talked a little bit about it here tonight. We talked about it last night, but I think it's worth saying again. I came here in 1997. In 97, we were talking about enhancements to our downtown. We were talking about rebuilding Main Street. We were talking about residential development, really creating a diverse downtown. And we've worked on that slowly over the last 25 years. We were notified today that Summers and Taylor will begin work at 1st of October on Main Street, a project that this board and previous boards have been working on for some time. Of course, the approval of 2 projects, Centennial Row and Brickyard Village. Tremendous impact they're going to have on our city for decades to come. The event space is going to be desperately needed as we talk about bringing people to downtown and showing that off. So just really a lot of positive things happening within our downtown, happening throughout our city. We continue to see that growth and the impact that growth is having. And appreciate the work that you all have done. The mayor mentioned back in February of 2020, we sat down and we talked about this project. We talked about emphasis on residential, an emphasis on retail, and an emphasis on quality of life. And we're slowly checking those boxes off despite obstacles that have been outside of our control with the pandemic. But again, a lot of work is going on with that. And of course, one of the individuals that's in the middle of that on a daily basis is John Rose. And John's just done an outstanding job shepherding these projects, but many others, getting us to this point. John is actually, I believe, down in Chattanooga as part of his economic development certification training. And so he regrets not being here, but we appreciate the work that he's done to get us to this point. So, Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. I'll start with Alderman Phillips.
I don't have much to add. I second everything Chris said, but I do want to point out that I'm excited about the 2 projects, but I'm even more excited that one of them is being done by a local Kingsport developer. So it's good that we have our people investing back in our city. That's all I got.
Good remarks. Tommy?
Well, I'd like to get started off on DB Indians.
Okay. You mean like we already had one football game?
Yeah, well, we played one football game, and we took it to them.
Yeah.
Tennessee High, Bristol.
Did you like the new light system?
Yeah, I did. Man, it blew my mind when I saw them lights start flickering and changing.
Okay.
It was really something else.
The band was really fabulous too.
Yeah, well, the band's always been great. You know how that goes.
Anything else?
No, it was just, I got to see Joey Christian today at Graham Clark's mother's funeral. And I got to tell him, I'm sorry I didn't call him because I always call him after every home game, especially the ones they win. And anyway, I got to talk to him and congratulate him, and it was a good feeling.
Okay,
So that's it.
let's do it again.
Yeah, let's keep going. Keep roll.
All right, thank you.
Roll Tribe.
Daryl?
Just a few things here. Congratulations to James and Crystal on your new apartment complex. We cut the ribbon last week, and it's a great addition to our city on that end. You know, walkability, the downtown, it looks great. It's a great location, so congratulations to that. We had a good report last night from Jeff Fleming, and Jeff's always great to come and share information with us. You know, we're showing steady growth. We're not going way too fast. We're going to outrun our roads, of course, but 2,000 families since 2020 has come to know what we already know. It's a great place to live. Just to kind of compound on what everybody else has said about the two TIFs tonight, it's amazing how that corridor is going to change in just a few years. From all down Main Street, we've got over 400 houses coming in. And it's just going to be just an amazing transformation, along with retail and other things that's going into. So just exciting for that. And then finally, Lamplight's Foggy Valley, The Great Escape is playing until September the 4th. And you can check the websites for tickets. With that said and done, that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Betsy?
Just 2 or 3 things. First of all, we've talked about Dobbins Bennett, and I was at the football game Friday night, and if you weren't there, it was a perfect evening for a high school football environment. But I talked to Chris Hampton, the principal of Dobbins Bennett, and I mentioned this last night, but he wanted to make sure that I thanked all the city staff, because with the dome closing, he said it was amazing how everyone stepped up, and that I think they've moved most of their phys ed classes to the Civic Auditorium, and so all the things that were planned at the Civic Auditorium for the next, I don't know how long, year or two. They've had to move to other places, and he said, he just really appreciates how everybody kind of rallied around and made things happen over a weekend, because it happened on a Friday afternoon when they got the news that the dome was going to be closing. By Monday, when the students showed up, they had to go somewhere. So he especially mentioned Michael Borders, to thank him, because he was so good to work with. Daryl already mentioned Lamplight. So we have a wonderful theater in our downtown. Now, if you haven't been there, you need to go. It is amazing. And I haven't seen this performance, but I saw the one last year, and this one's very lighthearted and funny, and it's just a good family friendly. It's wonderful. And if we don't have to travel with the price of gas to anywhere except Broad Street to see amazing theater. Also, I went to a DKA meeting, a Downtown Kingsport Associating meeting this morning, and there's a lot of things happening in the downtown. The first Thursday of every month is Shop and Hop, and it's going to be September 1st. It's called Touchdown Thursday. So if you are out, all the merchants stay open that night. Also, the October 6th is the Witches Night Out, Shop and Hop. So they're going to have witches all over the downtown area. So you can go down and shop and see how many you can. If you find all 6 or 8 of them, you win a prize. Also, I think it's the second annual Trick or Treat on the Street, October 29th. Last year was the first year they did that, and the turnout was amazing. I think every business ran out of candy, and they were Food City ran out of candy because everybody was going to Food City to restock. So that, if you have Little Goblins, or you can go out on the 29th. And also the Wine and Whiskey Festival, the tickets go on sale, I think, tomorrow for that. It's one of the biggest DKA fundraisers. So you can look on the Downtown Kingsport Association site for tickets for that. Also, to end with a feel-good story, there was first part doesn't feel good, but there was a wreck in Kingsport. Everybody was safe, except the little dog, Rico. Rico had stopped breathing. And so our fire department got Rico and gave him, resuscitated him. They gave him CPR and oxygen, and he revived him. And so Rico and his owner showed up at Station 6 with an apple pie. So the dog was safe. There's a picture of the little dog getting oxygen from our fire department. So our fire department not only helps humans, they also help little dogs. And I want to tell Scott, I called our fire department one day because a friend of mine had a cat stuck in their car, in the engine of their car. And so I called Scott, and I said, he probably hates that I have his number. And I said, I know that you rescue cats from trees, but have you ever rescued a cat from inside of a car? And he said, no, but he said, I think we've rescued a snake out of a house was the closest thing we've ever done. He said, but I'll call, we'll send somebody over. This has been going on like 2 hours. As soon as I hung up talking to him, I guess the cat heard me that he was going to get rescued, and he dropped out of the bottom of the car and ran off. So we called the fire department off. But so I thank our fire department for helping all the four-legged friends.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, Ms. Vice Mayor.
That was Betsy and not me talking about 4-legged friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed that. I really think about everything that's been said. But, when we talked about, it was February of 2020 when we got started down the road for so many different projects, and we had a pandemic. And so it feels like a lot of this stuff is just, we've been waiting for it to start for so long. And I'm so excited that come Christmas, when some of our people on this board are spending all their time decorating our town.
Everybody on this board is going to be decorated.
But by then, there's going to be so much dust in downtown Kingsport and so many things going on.
It's going to be
and so
glitter.
much,
We're going to.
Once it starts, there is just going to be so much that I'm really excited about. It's been a long time coming, and I think it's going to transform our downtown when we get through all these projects. So just excited about everything, glad to be doing everything, glad I'm on the Base Mountain Commission, and that's all I got.
Okay.
Let me say one more. Can I say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Clint mentioned Christmas in downtown. The Christmas tree lighting is December 3rd, so put that on your calendar. But we plan some really cool things for downtown, all the way from Centennial Park to the Glen Bruce Park. So get ready to enjoy our Christmas season.
You know how many days that one is?
I don't know. I'll have a countdown. If we can get our city manager on board, we will have a snowman on Broaden Center.
Bring his checkbooks.
It was 90 degrees today,
I was on the phone today with the snow machine company.
I need to talk to you about something about snow.
Is that it?
You've
It
lost
is.
control.
Yeah, I guess so.
Christmas is here.
Well, I'm looking at Chief Phipps. Again, congratulations. And thank you for the Times News providing a forum so you could talk about how we report crime and a little bit about how we actually deal with it. So that's good, getting the information out to our citizens. They need to know those things, and they should feel good about their police force. I think bicentennial was mentioned by one of my colleagues. Kingsport has a unique, rich, vibrant history, very, very interesting, and we actually have two charters. Cities have to be chartered by the state. We're creatures of the state, and we were first chartered in August 1822, and we were moving right along there, our history, and then we had this tragedy of the Civil War, and Kingsport, along with several other small hamlets, villages, lost their charter. So we put a lot of emphasis on our second charter, which was done on March 2nd, 1917, so because that was kind of the modern iteration of Kingsport. But the ceremony itself, the ceremony and the day, it was a 5-hour event at the Netherland Inn area commemorating our bicentennial. Was just excellent. It was just wonderful. There were folks dressed in period costumes, and the community band volunteered to participate, and the Netherland Inn Association, I just can't say enough nice things about them because they do such a great job. And I appreciate the city staff, the work that they did coordinating and this and publicizing it and so forth. So it was a great event, and we just have these historical areas. Exchange Place Fall Fest coming up September 24th, 25th, so don't forget that. Exchange Place is a living history that gives you a real feel for how folks lived in the 1850s. And my hat's off to my colleagues again and the staff for the joint effort on planning and envisioning what this Brickyard Park could be and the positive impact it'll have on our entire downtown and the city at large. So great stuff. Now, we've come to the part in our proceedings where citizens may come forward to the podium and speak on issue-oriented items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. Are there any citizens that wish to come forward and speak to the board? If not, we're adjourned.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Kingsport BMA meeting. This program has been a production of the City of Kingsport in cooperation with Milligan Productions, Milligan University, and Charter Communications. For more information, visit kingsporttn.gov.